when that large, overweight, bearded man, that stranger, comes sliding down your chimney, going to be hanging out in your living room, guess what? Later that day, we got some football, baby, because we have a Christmas game announcement from the NFL. It's going to be the Broncos and Rams, Christmas Day, 4:30. CBS and Nickelodeon DraftKings contributors Geoff, Ulrich, and Pearce, Dietrich. We're going to have slime cannons on the 25th of December. It doesn't get much better than that, does it, Geoff?
Dude, you mentioned the best part. The Santa Russ.
That's right.
Russell Wilson going to be cooking up some Christmas dinner for us. Yeah, I'm excited.
Wait a minute, Pearce. Yeah, that's right. You said he's done, right? Russ, he's washed up, no good?
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I mean, if he's going to be cooked, he'll be cooked by Thanksgiving. He'll be the turkey. He's not making it to Christmas.
Okay, so the Rams on the DK Sportsbook, Geoff, 2.5-point favorites at home. Are odds makers like maybe giving too much credit to this new Russell Wilson-led Broncos team?
Okay, so this line is, I get it. Like, you look at this is not a line I necessarily want to touch right now. I mean, a lot of these lines, you're probably going to say, like, why the heck would I bet this line right now? But this one especially. But I'm going to make a case here for by the time we get to Christmas, I actually think this one's going to make a lot more sense. And you may even see this line get smaller. Look, the Broncos they're a bit of a work in progress. We don't really know what we're going to get. They obviously upgraded massively at the quarterback position. They've got a lot of young players on defense. And I think by the time we get to Christmas, they're going to look better than people realize. On the flip side of that, you've got a veteran squad in the Rams. They escaped a lot of injury bugs last year. Their star players were just fine for the most part, but they had a longer season than anyone. They're a year removed, more banged up in the NFL. I think that there's a better chance the Rams get to this game with some massive injuries, and you actually see the Broncos potentially even at like even money. So that's my big prediction for this game. At this point right now, I cannot get on the Broncos as much as I want to. This line just looks too short, but things are going to change so much by the time we get to Christmas. So my prediction is the Rams maybe just look a little bit more banged up than the Broncos.
Pearce, make a case for betting this game now, this spread.
I'm not very bullish on Russell Wilson, but I'm even less bullish on the Rams. And I'm going to stay and die on this hill that the Rams are not as good as people think they are. They just aren't. They're 10-11 against the spread last season. And since we're probably going to go over schedules and game logs over the next couple of weeks, I might as well just jump on that now. Look at the last 10 games that the Rams faced last season. They beat the Jaguars. They beat an Arizona team that was injured. They beat Seattle, which wasn't very good. They beat Minnesota, another erratic team. They beat Baltimore, another team that was dealing with tons of injuries. They beat a San Francisco team twice that was riddled with injuries. They beat Arizona again that was dealing with injuries. They beat Tampa, whose offensive key players were all out. And they basically, over the last 10 games, they played one tough opponent, and that was the Bengals. And the Bengals really weren't the best team heading into the playoffs. The Rams are overhyped. They're overrated. I just don't see them being that competitive this season.
Okay, well, the battle for the Nickelodeon's valuable player there, the MVP, it's on. And it should be named after Mitch Trubisky there, Geoff. Yesterday, the NFL announced Monday Night Football doubleheader. We got week 2. Check this out. Bills, touchdown favorites, 7-point favorites on the DK Sportsbook over the Titans. Pearce, you think odds makers are kind of projecting a little bit of regression here for Tennessee?
Oh, God.
I think there'll be some regression for Tennessee, but this number is too high, especially early in the season. Tennessee should never be this big of a dog when you can give Derrick Henry the ball 30 times and then give him passes as well. So 7 points. There's a lot of continuity with Tennessee still. They haven't really changed much. We know what we're going to get. They're not like other teams that are bringing in new parts and pieces, and we don't know what to expect from them. Maybe in the long run, Tennessee kind of falls off later on in the season. But early in the season, being that this team's virtually the same team we've seen in the past, Derrick Henry is going to be presumably healthy. Just relying on him early in the season, they should be able to cover the spread.
Okay, I mean, that's a pretty tough defense to be running against, though, Geoff.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's probably going to surprise some people, but I actually don't think this line is that far off. Like, it's probably a little bit big, but like even 6.5, 6, I think is probably correct. Tennessee, they are who they are. They're a very boom or bust team. They're up, so they can beat anyone. They beat the Bills last year. They beat the Rams on the road without a lot of their key players. So they have it in them, but we also know that the Rams' floor is pretty terrible. There's a reason they were ranked like below average in DVOA ratings, and the Bills were ranked first. The Bills are the better team here, absolutely, and they're going to be at home. They should be fairly large favorites. Now, 7, it's a little bit much, but do you really want to rely on the Tennessee? Did Tennessee just sort of outperform their sort of rankings last year, perhaps for most of the season? A lot of people think so. I know I was high on them, but that was because they were so undervalued in the betting odds for a lot of the seasons, and they had the number 1 seed. Going into this one, I think you'll see that this line probably does get closer to 6 as we get closer to the game, and a lot of people just say this is too big at 7, but the Bills are clearly the better team here. And if this line does sneak down a little bit, I would be jumping on Buffalo.
Who's playing quarterback for Tennessee in this game, Geoff? Is it going to be Tannehill or Malik Willis?
Nick Foles.
It's going to be Nick Foles. Take a guess,
No, I mean,
Pearce.
in all seriousness, I think it'll be Tannehill. Yeah.
Okay. Any chance you think the rookie's starting at this point, Pearce?
No, they're going to go with Tannehill. Tannehill will probably play the whole season, much to the chagrin of Tennessee fans.
All right, so we got the Vikings and Eagles, guys. They're going to play the later game on that Week 2 Monday Night Football doubleheader. So Eagles at home, 2.5-point favorite right now in the DK Sportsbook. What does this line tell you about these two teams, Pearce?
I'm not a big fan of the Eagles, but it's tough to support Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football. The guy's 2-9 on Monday Night Football. He has won his last 2, but again, those last 2 were against the Bears.
On a heater.
And that last win against the Bears, he was awful in that game with a 69 quarterback rating. I did go back to our notes from the episode leading up to that show. Actually, Kirk Cousins has been a pretty good primetime quarterback in terms of completion percentage.
Yeah.
He is the second best quarterback in terms of primetime completion percentage, but he just never seems to win these games. So I think the Eagles will probably cover here.
Geoff, it's an absolute shame we don't have Reed T. Fowler here, Kirk Cousins stand to defend this man. Go ahead.
Right, yeah, the leader of the Kirk Cousins fan club, Reed T. Fowler. I forgot about that. The reason Kirk Cousins' completion percentage is so high in primetime games is because he spends the first half of the game turning the ball over, then he gets to play against prevent defenses for the whole second half. He's 8-17 in primetime games. That's as of last November. No, I mean, the 2.5, what this line tells us is the sports books still don't respect the Eagles, and they still don't respect Jalen Hurts. This is a team who really drafted some sleepers, in my opinion. Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis. This D-line could be one of the best in the league. Kirk Cousins is going to be on his butt a lot on this game. As long as Jalen Hurts doesn't implode or have one of those huge turnover-worthy games, I think this line is I think the Eagles win this game handily. And I think this line right now at -2.5, again, just not giving enough respect to the Eagles.
All right, we'll get you guys out of here with this. Geoff, Tom Brady, they announced today he's going to be an analyst with Fox after his playing days are done. Who knows when that's going to be, if there's going to be another retirement and an unretirement. What are your expectations for him in the booth?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm actually a little bit surprised. I really didn't think that Tom Brady would be going or have any desire to go down that road. But I think Tom Brady has a pretty good sense of humor. So I think you'll find him to be a little bit more humorous, not necessarily dive into the straight up play-by-play, trying to call every play out like Tony Romo. I think you'll see a bit more humor from Brady and probably a bit more lightheartedness, which actually will probably be a little bit refreshing too.
All right, Pearce, what do you think here?
It just makes me, feel sorry for some of the people who get broadcasting degrees and they dedicate their life to getting that job. And then Brady, who doesn't need a job or any money, just says, I'll take this. So tough luck for those guys.